OLE, the utopian world of online education.
Hello students, welcome to OLE. This is your chemistry class and today we are going to start a new chapter of class 9th, that is language of chemistry. In this particular session we are going to study that the language of chemistry, the language that is being used in the chemistry, the symbols, the terms, what they mean in chemistry. So first of all, let us study about what is chemistry. What do you mean by the word chemistry, or what we study in chemistry? So basically, as you know, chemistry comes under the science, right? So chemistry basically is a branch of science, right? You know this, that science has majorly three branches, that is physics, chemistry and biology, right? You know this. So basically chemistry is a branch of science. So what is chemistry? It is a branch of science, right? And what do we study in this branch of science? We majorly study about the matter. In this universe, everything is made up of matter and we study about matter in chemistry. What we study about matter? We study its nature, right? Its composition, its structure, right? And its changes, right? And its changes observed. Changes observed under different conditions. Under different conditions, okay? So basically, what we study about matter in chemistry, we study the matter's nature, its composition, its structure and the changes observed under different conditions, okay? Now, I would like to tell you that matter is made up of different type of elements, right? So basically, first of all, matter is divided or subcategorized as the pure and impure substances. Matter is subcategorized as pure substance and impure substance. All right. Now, impure substance is known as the mixtures, which we will study in detail later. But in this particular session, we are going to focus upon pure substances, right? So, if we categorize the pure substances further, the first ever category that comes here is elements, okay? And by which or from what elements are made up of? Elements are made up of molecules, and further molecules are made up of atoms. Alright, so here we got three terms, that is atoms, molecules and elements. So what are atoms? They are the single unit of a matter, or what we can say, atoms are the single unit of molecule, right? So what is atom? Atom is the single part, or atom is the smallest part of an element. As I have told you that element is made up of molecules, molecules are further made up of atoms. So first of all, let us know what are atoms. It is the smallest unit. It is the smallest unit of element. Okay, it is the smallest unit of element, right? Now, so atoms have the capability of existing independently as well as they cannot. What I mean by this is that atoms can exist independently. If we talk about atoms, so what we have written here, that atoms are the smallest unit of element. Smallest unit of element. And the next point in atom will be that they can or cannot exist independently. That means that they may exist independently or may not. Sometimes they can find alone, right? And sometimes they are found with the other elements as well, right? Now, if we talk about the molecules, what happens in case of molecules, or what is molecule? Molecule is the smallest unit. Molecules again is the smallest unit that has the capability to exist independently, all right? See, there is a difference between atom and molecule. You will say, ma'am, atom is also the smallest unit, whereas molecule is also the smallest unit. Whereas atom is the smallest unit of element, whereas molecule is the smallest unit of a compound. If I specify you this, then molecule is the smallest unit of a compound. Next, atom may exist or may not exist independently, whereas molecule can exist independently, right? Now, what is an element? Element is the smallest unit of matter, right? So now what is element? Element is the pure substance. Element is basically the pure substance, and it is made up of same type of atoms. Element is made up of same type of atoms, right? So basically, I would like to tell you that atoms combine together to form the molecules. Molecules combine together to form the elements. An element is a pure substance that is made up of same type of atoms, right? Now, if we talk about molecules, so molecules has the capacity or has the ability to exist independently. Now, molecules are made up of the similar type of atoms as well as the different type of atoms, right? So, what happens in case of molecules? They can combine with a similar type of atoms, and they can combine with different types of atoms to form a molecule. How this happens? Let us see. Okay, so now as I have told you that molecules can be made from the similar atoms as well as the dissimilar atoms. Okay, so what we will write? We will write that molecules can be made from similar or dissimilar atoms. So what I exactly mean by this statement? Okay, what I exactly mean by this statement? I mean that the molecules can be made up of similar type of atoms or the different types of atoms. For example, oxygen, right? So this is an oxygen atom, and if I add another oxygen atom to it, I will obtain a molecule. Again, the hydrogen. Now, another hydrogen atom will be added to it, and I will obtain hydrogen molecule. This is oxygen atom. Two oxygen atoms are combining together to form one oxygen molecule, right? Again, two chlorine atoms are combining together to form one chlorine molecule, okay? Here, two nitrogen atoms are combining together to form one nitrogen molecule. So, as you can see, both are the similar atoms. So, we can say that molecules can be made up of similar atoms. Now, what is the meaning of that molecules can be made up of dissimilar atoms or different atoms? So, here in this case, suppose hydrogen is combining, right? Or we can say, not hydrogen, let us not take the example of hydrogen here. Let us take the example of ammonia. So ammonia is this is a molecule of ammonia. Now hydrogen, in this case, hydrogen is combining with nitrogen to form the ammonia, right? Hydrogen here is combining with nitrogen to form the ammonia. So here what is happening? Two different atoms of the elements are combining together to form one molecule, right? Similarly, in case of water, here hydrogen combines with oxygen to form water. All right. So what happens here? Hydrogen is another atom, whereas oxygen is the different atom, but they form one molecule of water, right? So here what happens, molecules can be formed from similar types of atoms as well as from the different types of atoms. Now, there is one term that is atomicity. There is a term that is known as atomicity. What is atomicity? What is atomicity? The number of atoms combined together to form a molecule. The number of atoms combined together to form molecule. This is the definition of atomicity, the number of atoms combined together to form molecules. Now, atomicity can be of three types. Atomicity can be of three types. The first is monoatomic. The second one is diatomic. And the third one is polyatomic. Okay. If we talk about the monoatomic, that means in the case of monoatomic molecule, only one atom is there. Mono means one, right? Mono means one, atomic means atom, right? In case of diatomic, di means two, atomic means atom. So, in case of monoatomic, if we talk about the case of monoatomic, so in case of monoatomic, only one atom is there in the molecule. Only one atom is there to form the molecule, right? Now, if we talk about the diatomic, then in case of diatomic, what happens? Di means two, so there are two atoms in that. So, there are two atoms to form the molecules. Whereas, if we talk about the polyatomic, so polyatomic means more than two atoms. That can be 3 atoms, 4 atoms, 5 atoms, 6, 7, 8. So here we will say that more than 2 atoms are there in the molecule. More than 2 atoms are there in the molecule. Alright. So now about the monoatomic molecule. Now if we take the example of monoatomic molecule, then I would like to say that all the noble gases as well as the metals are monoatomic molecule. For example, let us take the example of argon, which is a noble gas. It is a single atom. It is a single atom here. Okay, it is a single atom here and it forms the molecule as well, right? Now, potassium metal hai. Now, potassium is a metal, but here again we are taking it as a molecule, right? Sodium, xenon, radon, krypton, right? So these are some of the examples of monoatomic molecule. Why they are monoatomic? Because only one atom is involved to form a molecule. As I have said that atom can exist independently or cannot exist. So in this case, atom is existing independently and thus forming the monoatomic molecule, right? Now if we talk about the diatomic molecule, that means 2 atoms are there. So we can take the example of here, right? So these are diatomic. 2 atoms of oxygen is required to form 1 molecule of oxygen. 2 atoms of hydrogen are required to form 1 molecule of hydrogen. 2 atoms of chlorine is required. 2 atoms of chlorine are required to form 1 molecule of chlorine, and 2 atoms of nitrogen are required to form 1 molecule of nitrogen. So all these are the examples of what? Of diatomic molecules. Why? Because there are 2 atoms involved to form a single molecule. Now, if we talk about the polyatomic one, so in the polyatomic molecule, there can be triatomic, tetraatomic, octatomic. Okay, so polyatomic molecules can further be classified as triatomic, right? Tetraatomic and octatomic. Okay, right? So if I take the example of triatomic means there are 3 atoms of certain element that is required to make 1 molecule. So in case of triatomic, the example can be ozone, that is O3. That means 3 atoms of oxygen are combining together to form ozone, right? In case of tetraatomic, that means 4 atoms are required to form a molecule. So here in this case, that can be phosphorus, because phosphorus molecule is known as P4. That means 4 atoms of phosphorus is required to form one molecule of phosphorus. Alright. Now in case of octatomic, that octa means 8. That means 8 atoms are required to form one molecule. So it is S8. Right? It is S8. That means sulfur. Right? So sulfur's 8 atoms. Sulfur's 8 atoms are required. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 8 atoms are required to form one molecule of sulfur. Right? So as you have known this, that molecules are the smallest unit of a compound. Right? And it has the capability of existing alone or existing independently. Molecules can be formed by similar atoms or by dissimilar atoms. These are the examples of similar atoms and dissimilar atoms. Again, molecules has the atomicity. Some molecules have monoatomic molecules, that is they have only one atomicity, two atomicity and more than two atomicity. So in that way, molecules can be classified as monatomic, diatomic and polyatomic, and these are the examples of the same. So I hope you have understood this lecture. You have understood that what is matter, what are elements, what is an atom, and we have discussed in detail about the molecules. I hope you have understood all of this. In the next session, we are going to study about the symbols of the elements. So stay tuned. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.